Dear and students, greetings of the day. Once again, we are back, and we hope that you are safe at home. For the meantime, till the schools are not open, we are going to study through videos. We are seeing the chapter we have print culture and the modern world. The next topic is related with the new forms of publication. As more and more people could now read, they wanted to see their own lives, experiences, emotions, and relationships reflected in what they read. The novel, a literary form which has developed in Europe, ideally catered to this need. It soon acquired a distinctively Indian forms and styles. Other new literary forms also entered the world of reading. As earlier we have seen, the European literary forms were basically based on the folk tales, the folk stories, the ballads, the small little books, or we can say, for example, in England we have seen the penny booksellers. They were selling penny books or little books, we can say. In France we have seen Bibliotheco Bleu, which was a cheap book meant for poor people. It was printed on a poor quality paper. So all those literary forms were available. In India we have the other literary forms, basically which were based on lyrics, short stories, essays on social and political matters. End of the 19th century, a new visual culture was taking shape with the setting up of increasing number of printing presses. Visual images should be easily reproduced in multiple choices. Painters like Raja Ravi Verma produce images for mass circulation. Poor wood engravers who made wood blocks set up shops near the letter presses and were employed by the print shop. Cheap prints and calendars, easily available in the bazaars, could be bought even by the poor to decorate the walls of their homes or places of work. By 1870s, caricatures and cartoons were being published in journals and newspapers, commenting on social and political issues. The next segment is about the women in print. Lives and feelings of women began to be written in particularly vivid and intense ways. Women's reading, therefore, increased enormously in middle class homes. Liberal husbands and fathers began educating their women folk at home and sent them to schools when women's schools were set up in the cities and towns after the mid-19th century. Many journals began carrying writings by women and explained by women why should be they not educated. They also carried a syllabus and attached suitable reading matters which would be used for home-based learning. Conservative Hindus believed that literate girl would be widowed, and Muslims feared that educated women would be corrupted by reading Urdu romances. Sometimes rebel women defied such prohibition. Of a girl in a conservative Muslims family of North India who secretly learned to read and write in Urdu. Her family wanted her to read only the Arabic Quran, which she did not understand. So she insisted on learning to read language that was her own choice. Then Rashundri Devi, a young married girl in very orthodox household, learned to read in secrecy of her kitchen. Later, she wrote her autobiography known as Amar Jeevan, which was published in 1876. It was the first full length autobiography published in Bengali language. From 1860s, a few Bengali women like Kailash Bhashni wrote books highlighting the experiences of the women, about how women were imprisoned at home, kept in ignorance, forced to do hard domestic work, and treated unjustly by the very people they served. In the 1880s, in present day Maharashtra, Tarabai Shinde and Pandita Ramabai wrote with passionate anger about the miserable lives of upper caste Hindu women, especially widows. A woman in Tamil novel expressed what reading meant to a woman who were so greatly confined by social regulation. For various reasons, by world is small, more than half my life, happiness has come from books. In Punjab too, a similar folk literature was widely printed from the earlier 20th century. Ram Chadda published the fast-selling Stridhram Vichar, to teach women how to be obedient wives. The Khalsa Tract Society published cheap booklets with similar message. Many of these were in the form of dialogues about the quality of good women. Print and the poor people. Very cheap small books were brought to markets in 19th century Madras towns and sold at crossroads, allowing poor people traveling to markets to buy them. Public libraries were set up in the early 20th century, expanding the access to books. These libraries were located mostly in cities and towns, and at times in prosperous villages. From the late 19th century, issues of caste discrimination began to be written in many of printed tracts and essays. Jyotiba Phule, the Maratha pioneer of low caste protest movements, wrote about the injustice of the caste system in his Gulamgiri in 1871. Then B.R. Ambedkar in Maharashtra and E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar in Madras, better known as Periyar, wrote powerfully on caste, and their writings were read by people all over India. Local protest movements and sects also created a lot of popular journals and tracts criticizing ancient scriptures and emphasizing a new and just future. Workers in factories were too overworked and lacked the education to write much about their experiences. But Kashi Baba, a Kanpur mill worker, wrote and published Chote Aur Bade Ka Sawal in 1938 to show the links between caste and class exploitation. The poems of another Kanpur mill worker who wrote under the name of Sudarshan Chakra between 1935 and 1955 were brought together and published in a collection called Sachi Kavitaएं. By 1930s, Bangalore cotton mill worker set up libraries to educate themselves, following the example of Bombay workers. These were sponsored by social reformers who tried to restrict excessive drinking among them, to bring literacy, and sometimes to propagate the message of nationalism. We are in the next segment, that is a print and the censorship. Strangely, it in earlier measures to control Printed matter were directed against Englishmen in India who were critical of company misrule and hated the action of particular company officials. By 1820s, the Calcutta Supreme Court passed certain regulation to control the press of freedom, and the company began encouraging the publication of newspaper that would celebrate the British rule. In 1835, faced with urgent petitions by editors of English and vernacular newspapers, Governor General Bentinck agreed to revise press laws. Thomas Macaulay, a liberal colonial official, formulated new rules that restored the earlier freedoms. After the revolt of 1857, the attitude to freedom of the press changed, and raised Englishmen demanded a clampdown on the native press. In 1878, the Vernacular Press Act was passed, modeled on the Irish press laws. It provided the government with extensive rights to censor reports and editorials in the vernacular presses. Now the government kept regular check on the vernacular newspapers published in different provinces. When report was judged as seditious, the newspaper was warned, and if the warning was ignored, the newspaper was liable to be seized, or press was liable to be seized, and the printing machinery confiscated. Despite repressive measures, nationalist newspapers grew in numbers in all parts of India. They reported on colonial misrules and encouraged nationalist activities. When Punjab revolutionaries were deported in 1907, by Bal Gangadhar Tilak wrote with great sympathy about them in his Kesari, or we call Kesari. This led to his imprisonment in 1908, provoking in turn widespread protest all over India. This is how we are able to see all that, how the print it has come into India and how it has its effect on the society, the culture, and on the freedom movement. And that's all from this chapter. We have seen a lot. We'll come back with the notes preparation. I'll provide you the notes related with the chapter. We have print culture and the modern world, and everybody has to maintain notes related with this chapter. Thanks for watching. Take care. This is the history chapter number 1 has been over. We'll come back again with the next chapter, that is the age of industrialization. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.